Hey, what's up guys? My name is Cameron Gallagher and today we're unboxing a shoulder rig, so let's get into it. So this is the new YouTube setup. It's going to be changing a little bit as things kind of progress and as I get a little bit better with how everything's set up. We have a little bit of an overhead cam you can see there, the light. But today, we're actually going to be taking a look at a shoulder rig, and the shoulder rig is actually from Axler, and it is a shoulder rig for an URSA Mini Pro. I think you can use it for the URSA Mini Pro and URSA Mini Pro G2. You might be able to use it for the 12K, I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to double check on that. But again, this is a cool shoulder rig from Axler. They did send this to me, so of course, as always, they don't sponsor us, they just send it to us for free so we can check it out. So I'm gonna go and do an unboxing, so let's check it out. Okay, so I'm recording on the overhead cam, and hopefully everything works and looks good and is in focus and everything. So let's get into an unboxing. I usually don't do unboxings, this is kind of different. So we pull this open, we can see that there is the shoulder rig right here at first. And so there's the shoulder rig right here. Looks really nice. This is the actual piece that's going to obviously pull that foam out. Go on to the actual camera itself right here. Of course, we have our 15mm rods, our VCT plate, which I have a VCT plate acceptor, I guess. Yeah, airy rosette or rosé, however you want to call them, on the sides. And yeah, so there's that. Here's our screws that go to that, so that's going to actually go onto our, I'm going to put that over there. This is our start and stop cable, so this is the cable that we're going to use to start and stop the video. So if you have like a Blackmagic handle, this is what you're going to use, or any handle that I guess has a start and stop device. So there's that. Here we have the rosette or rosé extender, so this is where you're going to have your hand grip, and you're going to screw that onto the actual piece right over here, which I'll show you in a second. This is the top quick release plate. So this goes on the top of the camera, and this actually attaches what we're going to show right here. That is this guy. This is the top handle. Oops, goes this way. That's the top handle. So this guy can slip in here, and it's kind of a quick release system. It's also so that way if you have the eyepiece, you can pull it on and off, but you can also use the viewfinder if you need to. So that's what that's for. Set that aside. Looks like, oh, we also got the screw for that. We have some of our screws, Allen wrenches, which are sweet. That's gonna be really nice to have because we're gonna wanna be able to, you know, obviously put it together. And then, looks like we have a little screwdriver. Oh, that's kind of sick. So send a little screwdriver. And then, lastly, some 15mm rods. These are nice, looks like aluminum. So those are gonna be good when we put it together. And then I think there might be some literature, yeah. That's about it. There's a little how-to kind of guide here. So I'm gonna put this on the URSA Mini Pro. I'm gonna go grab the camera and kind of do a little build and show you how we kind of kit this thing out. Hey guys, so I'm cutting in here super quick because I'm very excited to talk about our sponsor. That's right, we have an amazing sponsor. And that sponsor for this episode is Skillshare. You've probably heard of them. So if you don't know about Skillshare, it's basically a massive online learning community of creatives for creatives. So they have everything from writing to animation to photography and film and a lot more, like a lot more. I'm personally super excited to dive into some of the Storytelling 101 class, as well as exploring some of their business experiences as well. I also know Zach is very excited to dive deeper into the animation one, because that's something we want to do in the future. And they have tons of other amazing classes from top to bottom. And that's one thing that Skillshare is that I really like, is that it's not just for one type of creative, it's something for everyone. So if you're discovering a new creative journey, or you want to go down a new creative path, or you're a seasoned pro that just wants to kind of brush up on some skills or see what other creatives are offering, Skillshare is just a melting pot for learning for all of us. And the best part is the first 1,000 people to click the link in the description below will get a free trial to the Skillshare Premium membership. So again, if you love learning and you love experiencing new creative ideas and just seeing more stuff, be sure to join the Skillshare community and join us there. And a huge thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this episode. All right, so I have the URSA Mini Pro here all set up, everything kind of laid out, all of our parts and pieces that we have, and I'm going to basically jump into building this thing and building this shoulder rig. I have my instructions off to the side. Now I'm gonna use some of their tools, but I'm also gonna use some of my tools because I'm gonna be honest, the tools they give you are okay and they're gonna work, but I just have nicer tools, so I'm gonna use them. So, all right, so everything's kind of laid out here. And I think first things first, I'm the realist. Just kidding. Every time I can't help it. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put the bottom plate on here, and I'm gonna refer to my instructions just to be sure. So obviously we have the URSA Mini Pro G2 here. So I'm gonna lay this guy down, and we're gonna use these two screws right here. So these two screws we're gonna put in, and And I'm gonna put one right there. Now, there's 4 screws on the URSA, so it depends on how you wanna set this thing back. You can have it a little more forward or a little bit back further. That kind of depends, and it's up to you. Me personally, I'm gonna put it as back as far as I can. So I'm gonna put that guy in right there. Whoops. Looks like you have to kind of screw it in. Let's try the top here. Yeah, so it's gonna make me screw it in first. Boom, there it goes. It's gonna set in there. So we're gonna do that to both of these here. Whoops. Trying to make sure I get everything on the screen. So we're gonna do that one in. Whoop. As you can see, I am not the best builder in the world, but we're gonna keep going anyway. Okay, cool. So these are in there. I'm gonna shift this a little over. Okay, so these are in there. Let's move that. So like I said, I'm gonna put these on the back too, just so that way they're lined up as far back as they can be. I'm gonna see how this guy goes in. Scoot that one all the way back. And there we go. Let it catch a little bit. Let's set this guy up. Let that one do the same. All right, so tighten that up. Tighten this bad boy up. And the reason why I'm using a longer screwdriver, which is a little more difficult, if I had, usually I'd use like this little tripod piece, this small rig piece I have right here, but the problem is that this thing doesn't reach down as well. It's a little bit harder to fit in there, especially in like here to turn. So I'm just gonna use this. It'd be easier to do something like that, but actually let's see if I can just do the finishing tightening with it. Okay, so our bottom plate is on right now. So this means that our camera at this point has the 15mm rods installed in the actual back shoulder piece. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip it up now and we're gonna do the top. So the top, the first thing you're gonna have to do is actually put in the quick release plate. Now I say a quick release plate, although it's not gonna actually be a quick release plate, but you know, you get the idea. So first thing we're gonna do, so again, this is the quick release plate for the actual eyepiece itself. So what we're gonna have to do is actually install this onto this. I think it goes this way, this way, this way. That way it can slide, the eyepiece can slide underneath there. So we have to put those 4 little screws down the bottom underneath there. So let's do that. Okay. Make sure you guys can see that, hopefully. Find your little packet of screws here. Let's dump these guys out. Here's our Allen. There's these guys, I don't know what they're for yet. There are these 4 little screws. And they're gonna use this tiny little included piece here. So I'm gonna put these in. And this is really great, like I said, if you're going to be using, whoops, the eyepiece from Blackmagic Design, which I'm not gonna lie, I've really thought about purchasing myself because honestly, having that eyepiece and having that viewfinder is really cool. Mainly because it gives you such versatility on set when you're, you know, out in bright sunlight or you're just really wanting to nail the focus or whatever it may be. So I'm not gonna lie, I've definitely been thinking about picking that up. The biggest thing for me has again been the piece that I've been using. So I've been using the small rig parts. And for me, they're really, I do love them, so I'm not hating on them at all, but it's just difficult to get the eyepiece in there. You really can't at all. So, all right, so we're gonna tighten those down. This guy is really tiny, so this is very hard, and I have fat hands. Ugh. Okay, so I am no Bob Vila, as you can tell. And if you don't know who Bob Vila is, you're not old enough. Oh, my tiny, tiny screws. No, there we go. Okay, so finish that guy up, and that has put our eyepiece quick release plate onto our top here. Oop. Okay, so the trick is now we're going to use this to put our top plate on top of here. Now, the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna actually secure these back two with these bad boys right here. Now, make sure this is obviously this hot shoe mount or cold shoe mount is facing the front. Sounds easy, but I feel like people could easily forget. So we're gonna line that up right about there. Now, this is annoying that you have to reach it down, but thankfully they did include this, which is, of course, big enough. All right, bring that down. Okay, so we've secured these on, just like that. Tighten this bad boy down. So this is going to, again, tighten our top plate on. If I can get this thing on. There we go. And let's do another one. Nice. Okay, so that is our top handle. So you can see now our camera has got its little rig going on. Now, if you were using the eyepiece, it would slip through here, and you would use this piece right here to actually screw that in and actually on there. So that way it would secure it. Obviously we don't have that, so it's kind of useless. You could always screw it up top here just to hang out. I don't think that's great because it sticks out like a sore thumb and you could break it. So I would just keep that aside if you do have the eyepiece. Obviously, if you don't have the eyepiece and you're thinking about getting the eyepiece, hold this aside. If not, it's not a huge deal. You know, it still works obviously just fine, but obviously that gives you the ability to do so. So let's add the other stuff. So let's add our 15mm rails. So just make sure these are loosened up. Ooh, go a little bit more, a little more. Slide our rails in there, tighten that down. And then let's do the other side. And slide that in there. Just like that. So now you can see we have our rail system attached. So now our rails, we can add accessories with our 15mm rod, follow focus, stuff like that. And then, last but not least, we have our rosette or rose. I'm just gonna go this way. And you're going to, I'm gonna put it on the right-hand side because I'm right-handed, so I prefer to have it over there. And just like that, you now have, although it doesn't sit flat, it's the only thing. And then for me, I don't have the, I'll actually move this down. So in my case, I don't actually have the Blackmagic design handle. I have a small rig one that I like. There is no button, so you can't toggle on and off. So this cable right here is gonna be pretty much useless, at least for this system. Obviously, if you have the Blackmagic design handle or any handle that has a stop and start button, it's gonna be handy. But this one still screws on, it's the same standard. So we're gonna screw it on down there. Just like this. Ooh, once I go on, there we go. And just like that now, you have a nice shoulder rig, a top handle that allows for the quick release plate for the eyepiece as well as the 15mm rod. So if you want to use accessories on there, and this can go on your shoulder and boom. You can see now that I could easily just throw this on my shoulder. I could have the eyepiece right here and I could be using it just like any other shoulder rig. And of course I could have a follow focus, things like that. The great thing, and I would say one of the key things about this rig is that if you're probably gonna wanna use the eyepiece because of the way the camera sits, you could always have a monitor stick further out, but that's gonna be a little hard and it could actually get in the way if you have like a wide lens like I'm using right now. So in my case, what I would recommend doing is using this with the eyepiece. But this thing is just built really well. It's sturdy, it's quality, I just like the feel of it. It all seems like really nice parts that aren't gonna get too beat up. I wish the pad was maybe a little bit more comfortable. It doesn't have as much padding as something like the small rig one does, but overall it's a really nice system. The top handle feels really good, really secure and on there. So I gotta say I'm very impressed, and definitely for the price tag, I think it's totally worth it. I would say it's definitely the better option than the Blackmagic Design ones. Not trashing Blackmagic Design, but their shoulder rig is definitely just feels cheaper. It doesn't feel as nice. I think this is built much, much better. So if you're thinking about getting a shoulder rig for the URSA Mini Pro or URSA Mini Pro G2 or URSA Mini Pro 12K, this is definitely the way to go, the Axler one. So I'm gonna leave the link down in the description below. Be sure to check it out if you haven't already. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.